How important is it for the somatic definition of choice to include the environment, space, environment, and other people, that the choice is made in connection with the environment?
The first thing that I hear in that is kind of this narcissistic aspect. Is there a implication in that when you make a choice from within, it doesn't include the space and others? Because if you make a choice internally, you can or cannot consider the space. If you're getting feedback, your feedback implies that you're making a choice based upon the space. But if you're making a choice inside from within and you don't include the space, it almost feels like nothing will happen then. Because the space is where you take action, and choice requires action.
It feels to me like in the somatic definition that you need to be in connection.
So knowing that some of you are isolated from the space, either narcissistically or afraid or in judgment and superiority, you have created a separation from the space. That is going to cause great dysfunction in the way that you manifest and show up and embody these different things. You can reject God and life and yourself all you want, but ultimately the only way to do that is by killing yourself. And so you're not really doing it. You're just killing yourself, really, is what's happening. There's things where, yes, you can isolate from the space. We've seen examples of somebody being in the space, doing dancing or movement, and it doesn't feel like they're connected to anything. Now, energetically, that's what's happening. Practically, they're still in the room they're in, but the problem comes in is how do you make it so when you're in the room, you feel disconnected from it? That's a real thing. We can feel that. There's no denying that. In a practical engineer physics place, you're like, what are you talking about? That person's in the room. They're connected. Their feet are on the floor. But in an energetic way, how you're managing the energy internally can be something different. And that difference is going to create a lot of dysfunction and pain and suffering in your life. So there are things like this in the definition where if you aren't including your environment and the space in your choice, it's probably not going to be very effective, because in order to affect your environment and space, you have to participate in it. You have to be connected to it. What you're saying would lead me to imagine somebody who lives in a fantasy. This is what that probably would look like. If you're making a choice and you're excluding the external environment, what's probably happening is you're doing it in a fantasy. You're doing it in your head, and it's going to have no effect. And so you're going to probably be living your life saying, yeah, but Andrew, I chose to be a famous actor. Great. And what have you done? Well, I've chosen it. Well, have you done anything in your environment, aka taken action? And they say no. They didn't really make the choice, because choice requires action. And in order for it to have any effect in reality, you must do it here in time and space. If you do it up here, nobody cares. Hey guys, I made $1 billion in my head. Who wants to accept my imaginary currency? Nobody does. This is the game we're playing. This is the dimension that's happening. We're here to take what's in here, manifest it in this physical realm. This is feedback, right? This is feedback, folks. Feedback as manifestation, as I say in the book. And that requires choice. So it does appear that there has to be action. We could say meaningful choice. You could make a pretend choice in your head, but then in movement, we would probably see you do nothing. Can you guys imagine if I said make a choice and somebody stood there and you saw nothing happen? It probably wouldn't feel like a choice, right? It feels like when you make a choice, that's an action, that's a verb. There's a movement that occurs that tells us that if you're making choices in your head, you think you're making choices, but you're not actually taking the actions, and you're not having an effect in time and space in your environment, it probably means you're not making a choice and you're conning yourself.